Hi, I'm Carolyn.
I'm Anna.
And we're two sisters who love handcrafting and figuring things out.
Welcome to episode 43. Our last episode was a whip parade, so we're back to our regular floss tube. And it is Saturday, January 27th. Is it 27th?
Yes, I think it's 27th. Yeah.
27th.
Yeah, we're
glad you're here.
Yeah, we filmed our whip parade like a week early because
you front loading.
Yeah, we were front loading because you had a lot of work that particular weekend or something. So it's really been 3 weeks for us since we filmed. You're still going to be on like the 2-week thing. So missed Anna.
I know. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I like our getting together every few weeks. You know how days can just go on and you don't see someone?
Yeah.
So this makes us have a date.
Good. She brought over Jersey Mike sandwiches for us too before we ate. So they're
number 13 Italian. Oh, so good.
Fantastic. Let's see. So this episode, we're going to be back to our normal. So let's see. We're going to talk about what we're wearing. I think Anna has finished. We've got whips, we've got plans, we've got a couple shared supplies, we have thumbs up. Who else? Who knows what else we're gonna have? Yeah.
Well, as we mentioned, our last video was a whip parade, and just thanks everybody for your comments that were just so encouraging and appreciative, and we love seeing what everyone else is doing, and it's just nice to know that people are appreciating. But we're holding up too.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
It was fun. The whip parades really are fun. They're fun to watch, and they're also was really fun to film and really getting like a look at your whips. And I'm still watching Emily C's right now, her whip parade.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
She's got a good long
weekend.
one going.
Okay, good.
And then Jen of Quirks and Stitches, she has like a 3-hour video because she's the one that did like 222 starts.
Oh yes.
So I think she goes through all her whips. So that one definitely gonna have to watch that over the course of like a week.
Another thing that's been one thing that came up specifically in comments, it was basically you all talk so much about your Christmas trees and then you never showed them to us because we both really like a particular kind of Christmas tree. So here's a picture of mine. Good. And you'll see what we mean about so much space between the branches so that the ornaments can really move.
They're called silver tip trees. I just because of life could not get a silver tip tree this year, and I have a true confession, don't tell anyone, okay? I just took my Christmas tree down today. I love Christmas trees so much, and the lights, just something, it's almost like I could have it up year round.
Well, if you want some company, we took ours down last weekend, but all the ornaments are still on the dining room table.
Okay, good. So great.
We'll get there. I know what you mean. Like my husband James always says, the living room feels sort of sad after you take it down.
And when you put that Christmas tree up, and especially the lights, for me, I actually didn't put that many ornaments on my tree this year, but it was mainly about the lights. I just love it. And you come in, and you turn them on, and okay.
Another thing that came up in comments were ideas for my 2024 idea of, I'm calling it hashtag bowl full of baskets. So every 2 months I want to stitch a basket, lifting some from larger samplers, and people gave ideas of names of samplers to look at, and also like some ideas of why don't you stitch the tiny little pillows to put in the dough bowl, or some strawberries to add some like sort of dimension. And
I think having like change of scale and all of that and the different sizes and layers is going to make it really good.
Also, a couple of people asked, we have 2 samplers from our family, and some people were asking, do we plan to sell those charts? And Carolyn and I do not have plans to do that right now, but it's also not a no. It's just sort of, we just haven't really put any time or energy into that.
Right. And I'm also thinking like for the one I've been working on, which is from my husband's family. First, I have to ask permission from their family. But I would right now be more inclined just to have a free PDF for people that want to stitch it. But I'm not going to make that decision. I want to first finish stitching it so we have a model for it.
The one from our side of the family, I would want to check in with our sisters too, at least. And I really can't predict what they would say. So I'd be curious to see
how people feel. If
they feel like it's a private thing.
But both the samplers have great stories, so I think it would be really fun to do it with a little bit of history. In a way, it's honoring the people the 2 women that made those samplers. So
we'll see.
So that's where we are.
More on that. So thanks for expressing your interest, because it helps us to think about it. And then also, I've made a decision. I'm ready to give away the brick house sampler. So this is a kit from Country Sampler. Has all the threads and a few skeins, all of which are different of Oscar, because I was running out of Oscar. And this is its state.
Do you remember the size of your linen?
It's 36 count.
36 count.
Zweigart beige. At least the pattern said Z beige. So I'm guessing.
That's right. It came in a kit. That's right.
And if you are interested in this, just put the word brick in your comment. And then once we choose somebody, you can decide, do you want this or do you just want the pattern and the threads? This is, I don't know. It's okay. It was when I first started.
It's more than okay.
There's lots of long ends on the back and everything. Anyway, you can decide for yourself. It will not hurt my feelings if you want the pattern and the...
Or it would also be fine if they won't take the whole thing, and when they receive it, if they're like, oh, you know what, I think your stitching is too different for mine, I'm going to just...
That's a good idea. And you could always
compost it.
Trim that and use that. Right. So Carolyn, thanks. You gave me a nudge.
Good.
I think maybe I knew deep down I was not going to finish this.
Yeah. I know I saw at least one comment or 2 that said, hey, I would actually love to do the brick house sampler. So, and beautiful floss.
Great. So this is up for grabs, and I would just be so happy to send it to you. If you're interested, we'll do a...
How do you feel if the person that wants it lives outside the United States?
I'm going for it. It's a
great.
one thing,
great.
Not a bunch of things.
Great.
So
put brick somehow in your comment.
Right. That feels good saying it out loud.
Good,
Thanks,
Anna.
everybody.
Wasn't that one of your stitch it or ditch it?
You know what, you mentioned that, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't remember if it was.
I will have to go back, but I think that was. So you may have just ditched it.
Finding a new home, breaking up with it.
Breaking up. So, okay, I just need to share something amazing I've done in the last 3 weeks. So on the weekend, I think it was January 13th, so I think it was 2 weeks ago, there is the NorCal Stitchers Facebook group, and they had a meetup, and I went. It was hosted by Valerie, and she lives in Belmont. So if you're aware of the Bay Area, and her apartment has a community room that's beautiful. It has a little kitchen, opens up glass windows, lots of natural light. There's a restroom right there. So, she rented it for the day, and we all pitched in. It was very, very reasonable. I think we all paid $10 for that. Everybody brought food. People brought show and tell. It was 6 hours, and I thought, well, I'll just go there. I'll definitely get there at the beginning. We'll see. The first time I looked at my watch, it was like 3 o'clock.
That cracks me up.
I couldn't believe it. So I get it. It was so great. Meeting people, you met some people that you knew, like we knew on Instagram that we had never met before. So fun. If you live in the Bay Area, and I think one woman actually drove down from outside Sacramento, so that's like a 2-hour drive. So if you're at all interested in this, go to the Facebook group, NorCal Stitchers, and we're right now in the process. It was such a success, and it was such a fantastic venue that Valerie has graciously offered to host it again, and we're looking at dates right now in March or April to do that, and there's a little poll going on. So it was just fantastic. I
wanted to go so badly, but I'll probably reference this a half dozen times. I just came out of a long writing period, like our mid-year progress reports, and that was my main writing weekend, and I just couldn't.
Yeah. So inspiring. You'll see one of my starts later on was inspired. One of the things I was inspired.
Oh, good. I want to see that.
So it's fantastic. We're not on Facebook. In fact, somebody, Olivia B, had told us about this Facebook group. So I joined Facebook just to join that group. That's the only thing I do on Facebook. But it was just really nice. And I think probably wherever you are, if you want to try it, just look maybe on Facebook for just that local group that would do it.
Okay, I hope I can go to the next one.
Yeah,
she just came home raving about it.
It was like I was on a high. It was also one of those things like you go like, I don't really know anybody. Like I think I thought Olivia was going to maybe be there, but I didn't know. It doesn't matter. People were so friendly. We just had one big community table that everybody sat at. And
like sit wherever and talk with whomever you're near, and off you go.
Exactly, and off you go. So it was really fun. I didn't know what to take, so I had taken like 4 projects thinking, I've got 6 hours. But I ended up only working on turkey trot and filling in the house. I'm almost done with the house. So I kind of did all of this while I was there. So now I know for a stitch up, bring one thing. That's a lot of fill in. This was perfect for that. So that was fun.
Yeah, the variegation in the house.
I know. This is so close to being done.
All right, so before we go to what are we wearing, let's toast you.
We're toasting you.
Our viewers, whether you comment or not, we're just so happy. I write and respond to comments sometimes, just like, thanks for being on this adventure with us, because that's just how it feels.
That's a great way. So thank you for being on this adventure with us and being part.
We have our hot tea going today.
I've got some good old PG tips going. I was watching, I can't remember which FlossTube it was, but they just sort of said, like, thank you for being whatever people do for the community. Are you a viewer? Do you do FlossTube?
Oh,
do you
that's
post
a
on
great
Instagram? Do you support your local store? Like, whatever. Do you stitch, a designer? Like, we're all part of the community and we all are participating in the way that feels the best for us. And that's how we're such a vibrant community.
I agree.
I like that word vibrant. Do you like that word vibrant?
I like that word vibrant.
That's a good description. All right. Anna, what are you wearing? Oh, no, never mind. What are you wearing? I was going to say, never mind. Okay. I was going to say
Tell
something.
me later.
No, I was just going to say, we're going to insert our catwalk here, but I'm like, no, we're doing that after. Okay.
I'm wearing the Willow Tank by Grain Line Studio, and it's just a very simple sleeveless shell. So I do this a lot in the winter. Just pop a little something over. I get a little claustrophobic, so I really like sleeveless things. And I made this when I came back to garment sewing, it was one of the first things I made, and it's out of quilting cotton. So since then, I have found some sources for lots of other kinds of fabric to use, but it just has a nice geometric print on it, and it's a standard.
It's a standard.
Carolyn, how about you?
Okay, wait. I realized, do you have any plans to sew something? I realized you haven't sewn something in like a year or so, have you?
I have to tell everybody, I was out at the store looking for a fancy dress for my youngest granddaughter. And I had this like well of emotion of like, I have not sewn her a dress yet.
Oh.
I think I'm missing sewing garments, but in the evenings and on the weekends, I'm cross stitching. Yeah. So I have some beautiful rayon. I think I held it up at a FlossTube and a pattern of a blouse. It's already cut out. Like, I have things lined up when everything kind of came to a stop when I really got into cross stitching. But I think I'm missing it enough that I need to find sometime in the next couple of months, I need to make a garment or two.
Mm-hmm. You almost need to have your own little solo retreat where you're like, this is a sewing weekend or a sewing day.
Or like Saturdays are going to be for sewing instead of cross stitch or something. I don't know. I feel like it is sort of part of my identity too. I like to make my clothes, but I haven't made a garment for myself.
Yeah.
Definitely over a year, maybe even longer.
Have you bought, I guess you bought the dress that you wore Thanksgiving through New Year's. I'm thinking, have you bought any clothes for yourself?
I bought another sleeveless dress before our vacation in August. Mm-hmm. It's funny because at school, people ask me a lot, did you make your dress? Did you make your dress? Did you make your? And recently I've been saying, I wish I did, but I bought it.
Or you could say, I could have.
Yeah, so ask me again in a couple months if I haven't made it.
I don't know why it occurred to me just recently. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure you've shown on a FlossTube any new garment.
Mm-hmm. I've even had some weeks where I'm like, I wonder if Carolyn will lend me a scarf
Yeah.
because I have nothing to wear.
Oh, we're totally on repeat, but I figured people come and go who are watching. So if you saw the same garment
Right.
12 months ago, like
And
12
that's
episodes
reality,
ago,
really,
that's, yeah,
right?
exactly.
We want to be wearing them and using them.
Exactly,
and,
exactly.
Not having too many. All that
Yeah.
stuff.
So that being said, this is one I've worn before. This is the Donner sweater by Elizabeth Doherty, and she's just a master designer. I knit this in the fall of 2017, and it's really my go-to hiking and camping sweater, but I also just wear it as an everyday sweater as well. You'll see in the catwalk, I have this on. Somebody, it was in Get a FlossTuber, talked about her daytime pajamas. She said something like, oh yeah, I go from my nighttime pajamas to my daytime pajamas. So I have this year around Christmas, I got myself like some almost like sweatpants. It's funny, I'm not like an athletic wear person, even though I played sports and everything. I typically just wear like normal clothes.
Yeah, you don't wear athleisure.
Right, during the pandemic, I did not go. But then everybody's been talking about these pants. I'm like, I'm gonna give them a go. And I wear them all the time on the weekend. So you'll see them, I just have my sweater over my daytime pajamas.
And you're going to put in a sweater a picture of you wearing this, right? Because
Actually interesting. That was from the last. I copied and pasted that from our show notes from before.
Okay.
I could reinsert that picture. There's a good picture. I wore this one, I think right when I'd finished it in Death Valley. It was like one of our trips we did pretty soon after that.
Because I think it looks so good in a natural landscape.
It does. It's great. And in fact, I might have even been knitting this on our very first backpacking trip when we went from summit to sea. I might have brought it as my luxury item in my backpack to knit on. I'll have to, either that or I was wearing it. No, maybe I was wearing it. I would not have brought a big project like this in my luxury.
I think it's a super, super pretty shade of red.
It is. It's a discontinued yarn, and red is not like a huge color for me, but
right.
I do like this sweater. Okay, now we'll put the catwalk in. All right, did you like my daytime pajamas? Here we go. Anna has some finished objects.
I do. We had this idea a couple of months ago. We're going to make some project bags. We'll make 4 and give 1 to each other. Totally fine.
I haven't done it yet.
Totally
but
fine.
It's on my list this year.
So, first one is this.
Ooh.
It's a Christmas bag. And this is the lining. I know, sort of Scandinavian looking.
Oh,
okay, so Carolyn, you have to pick one at the end.
Okay,
this
thank
one,
you.
Just the same fabric on the inside and out. I like architectural fabric.
Yeah.
It has a metal zipper. Okay, I know you prefer the plastic. So
nice.
This is one of these things like let the fabric just speak for itself.
Okay, can I just mention you put this little doodah here?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Are you doing that doodah on everybody, or what was your thing?
I just popped in my
That was
head.
a design element. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Here's one. I thought this fabric was really interesting, and this is what your little reindeer's back did.
Right.
What's on the inside? Oh, more floral.
Oh yeah. These are Anna. You're so good at these.
Thank you. I really like making them.
This is
And
you
one.
can have a little business making bags, Anna.
You see these cute little scissors? That's what's on the inside. I know I've heard people say they really like light fabric on the inside. To me, it doesn't matter. I felt like that was need a little brightening, so I put it with a brighter fabric. All right, so does one of them call to you?
Definitely. Okay.
Okay.
Let's hold them up, and everybody, just in your mind, let's just play a little game. Which one do you think I'm going to pick? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I can take out 3. I'm pretty sure that's not the one you want.
So what do you think?
I think you're going to go for this one.
I'm going to go for 3.
No way. It's so frilly for you.
I love it. I love the graphics. I love the colors. As soon as you showed it, I'm like, that's it.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. And you have I think it's a little strawberry charm on there.
Does my sister even know me? When you were wiggling this, I'm like, oh, she totally knows I'm going to pick this.
No,
and you're like,
I'm like, no. I felt like it was like too feminine or something.
They're all beautiful. They're all beautiful. Thank you. They're all beautiful.
Sure.
I think this reminds me a little bit of I like the poppy flower. Reminds me a little bit of the poppy.
I can see that.
I feel like to me, it's more graphic than floral.
Okay. Well, enjoy it.
Thank you. Hey, Coco. Hey, Coco. Good girl. She thinks she's protecting us.
I just wanted to say too how much I enjoy looking for half-yard cuts of fabric. So anytime I'm in a fabric store, looking for two that might be complementary. Loving geometrics, graphics, architecturals, florals. I love navy, magenta, olive, mustard. I mean, I just really enjoy that sort of hunt, or that it's like a treasure hunt. It's funny. One of my really close girlfriends, Megan, she was visiting her daughter up in Portland, and they're going to go to Bolt, which is a fabric store I'd really like to go to next time we go.
Oh, is that I think they're on Instagram now, like Bolt PDX maybe? Yeah.
So she said, what do you want? And I said, how about 2 half-yard cuts? So her daughter picked one and she picked one. And she left them on my desk at school.
Perfect.
Isn't that fun? So those will become a project bag soon.
Oh. Yeah, we got to go to that fabric store. That's exactly yeah.
That's a good friend.
Text you friend.
What do you need? What do you want?
And somebody that really knows you well enough that they can pick fabric that you're in.
Yeah, or just will go for it, right?
Yeah. All right, Anna, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Part of my plans this year, we'll talk about plans. One of my monthly items that will get called randomly is do the project bags. All right, let's move on to whips.
Okay, you're first.
All right, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna start with my New Year's. I know.
Oh, it's changed so much with the colors of the bird.
I know. This is my New Year's Day start, and I was thinking about finishing it in January, and it's just not going to happen. And this week I realized, I'm not going to finish it. I'm like, well, what if I stitch on it every day and like blah blah blah? And I'm like, girl, relax.
Yeah.
So don't like not enjoy it because you feel like you have to have it finished. So what I'm talking about is Peace on Earth by Lottie Da. And I got the pattern from Hillside Rookery. And what I did is one time we were up at Needle in a Haystack, I pulled the DMC and I actually bought them as well, but then I converted it to 103s. And here's my palette. And I pulled in a few extra of this, and I have 2 blues instead of 1 blue. So I okay. Coco's now back with my husband. He gets banished. He's such a good sport. I don't know why.
Your husband, not the dog.
Oh, no, yeah. My husband always goes back into our bedroom, and while we're filming, it's just something weird about having somebody else listen, even though, like, I think sometimes he watches our videos, like, really fast. So Coco's back with him now. Okay, so I'll show you the palette again in a minute, but I just want to show you my progress. So some of the things I did is those top flowers had been really pale. This is what they were in the DMC, but I wanted a little bit more color. I'm just really enjoying this.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, the neutral colors of the bird, I feel like, are making the colors better.
Definitely.
So you need both.
Yeah, so this is done on 38 count Himalayan Fog by Legacy Linen, and it's SWA 103. Stitching 1/2, and the count of this chart is 136 wide by 107. Yeah. I'm not done with this palette because it's a lot in these colors, and then the bird has a little bit of the gold, a little bit of the tan, there's some gray, and a little green and orange in the tree branch that's coming.
And can we say, look at that luster.
Look at this.
Whoa.
So I'm challenging myself. I want to do another piece using the same palette, but going heavier in these colors here with this part being the accent.
Love it.
So these also remind me a lot of Joan.
Yes,
right in there. But I keep looking at those and going like, these are so beautiful, but this piece really uses them very sparingly. So that's going to be my challenge with this. It has personalized with initials, but I want to do it since it's my New Year's start for 2024. I'm going to put the date 2024 in place of the initials.
Okay.
And my initials are CQS. So I did that in the beige
That
color.
looks great.
So I did a slight modification there.
Subtle. Hold up that drawer again, because we've shown this before, but we both really like this little acrylic drawer. It's from the Container Store.
Hi, Becky.
For spools.
I'm saying that if you don't watch Becky's House of Sewing, she's fantastic in many ways. She has a video on FlossTube, but she works at the Container Store. So I'm like, what do you think of these, Becky? Yeah, so I'm sorry, Anna, I was just interrupting.
No problem. It has not only is the size great, the pull of the drawer has a really nice feel to it. It's a well-made product, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it when I'm working with this. I just take it out, put it on top, and then I can kind of even pop my spools up that I'm pulling from at the time. So
great.
This makes me really happy. Okay, peace on earth.
My first whip is Scarlet Berries, which was my New Year's start. It's by the Scarlet House. I am not, like you, I am not trying to finish this in January. And I really got grooving on the alphabets. Let me show you the color.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Just so pretty.
Anna, I love that color palette.
Yeah, it's
the orange is just right in there. Everything.
And
look at that.
And the bright of there's two reds, but I think the addition of that bright red.
Oh yeah, the other one's more purpley. Yeah, so pretty.
And yes, where I am. I always forget to use my board until the last minute.
That's all right. Oh, Anna looks so good.
So there's a little bit more to do in this upper alphabet section, but I think I'm going to do some personalization in there, so I'm holding off. And I counted down, fingers crossed, very carefully to get to the bottom section, which is the motif section, because I'm doing some planning for the middle section. Will you hold that up again?
Yeah.
Please?
Oh, Anna, actually, it's a larger sampler than I thought. So she's just down. Which side are you on? You're on that one. Just down here, just at the very top of the motif section.
So the pattern comes for the middle section. There are 15 pairs of initials, and I'm doing our matrilineal line, the initials of the women in the matrilineal line. And the pattern comes with this alphabet, and it comes with something that I have cut and pasted the alphabet and actually figured out the initials I want to use and have put it on here. But I received Max Stitch for Christmas, and I'm realizing I want to play with where those letters are going to go exactly, and this will be a good push for me to get onto Max Stitch and try it on Max Stitch. So that middle section, that's why I didn't want to stop working on this, but I knew that the middle section might take me some weeks to figure out.
Did you do your band across here?
Started it.
You started the band. Okay, great. Oh, and you did counting with thread and everything? Yeah, Anna.
Yeah, I put a little X every 10.
It's very responsible of you.
It's hard. It's because I know it's almost the same color. And then I did a little stitching across that line, just with.
Is that the call for linen, or was that your linen?
Yes.
choice?
So this is the linen and the thread are both called for. It's 36 count cocoa by Weeks Dye Works, and the threads are also overdyed cottons by Weeks Dye Works. Very happy with this sampler. I'm looking forward to learning how to use Max Stitch. I might be over for a lesson after I give it a go.
Sure. I'm like a very preliminary user, but that's fine. I am inspired by the people that start and finish their samplers in January. I find I'm not just a monogamous stitcher, and I would never want to feel that pressure. So now, I just think of it as a New Year's Day start. All right, my next whip is my Pennsylvania Dutch marking sampler that I've designed and been working on. And I did some Max Stitch. So here it is. And I'm going to be doing a large piece for our matrilineal line, and this was just figuring out what are the letters and what was the font I was going to use for my lettering of all the women's names. I'm going to, instead of initials, I'm doing their full names and their date of birth and their death date if they had passed away. So I wanted to get that all figured out. And I'm stitching this here. I've actually made quite a bit of progress.
Yeah.
Last you saw it, I had just done a little bit of the alphabet. So I finished the lowercase alphabet, the number section, and now I'm down in my motif area. And I'm stitching this on 28 count platinum by Zweigart, and I'm using the Bella Lusa wool threads, and that's just one thread over 2 stitches. And I've just introduced this really sort of vibrant gold that will be in part of the motifs, and I feel like that's going to be a nice pop. One of the things I'm doing, and I'll talk a little bit about this more in plans, instead of doing Whipco, I've done sort of my own personal Whipco mashup. But one of the things I'm doing is I'm picking randomly a weekly whip focus, and I stitch on that weekly whip focus at least 3 days. And this was the one, what week did I do this on? It was the week of January 8th. And it's incredible, just working on it 3 times, you get a lot of progress. It's like whatever one comes up, you see. So that's what, I pulled this out on my 12 by 12 for New Year's Eve, but then I've also worked in that recently. And here are all the wools I'm using right now. Look how fluffy they are.
Yeah.
This would be beautiful color work, like mittens or something. All right, and there's that gold that I've just introduced. I think it's gonna look really nice with some of the golds and browns.
Oh yeah, I agree.
When I get to some of those other motifs. So this is an example of another one, might be once I'm done, I'm just put that pattern out there for others that want to, because I think it is a cute little marking sampler. I'm cracking myself up because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna finish this in 2023. I don't have to change that date when I get
Well, you did a lot of other finishes in 2023.
Yeah. All right. Some of these whips, when you start getting close to the finish, you're like, probably next time I work on this.
Yeah, I'm glad you got one.
It's been really fun.
In down there. See that yellow.
Yeah.
All right, my next whip is the 2021 Stitch Along from Modern Folk Embroidery, The Fruits of Plenty. And I'm doing this. Here it is. I'm doing it in a monochrome way with DMC, what is it, B5200 on 32 count charcoal by Zweigart. And I have decided every Monday I pull out two.
Do you make that noise when you do it?
2 pieces of DMC, so 6 strands in each.
So
and I actually tuck them under the little stand I use to keep my pattern. And I say before the end of the week, those 12 lengths are going in.
How's
this
that working?
Is working great for me. The first week I did 2 a night.
Yeah.
Second week was my writing week. I barely did any, maybe 1 strand. Yeah. This past week I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to become overwhelming if I have like 24 lengths left or something.
I see. So
every Monday, no matter what,
I see.
And they just sort of sit in a pile. But I had no problem.
So you kind of caught
down to
yourself
0.
Oh, Anna!
And I've been working in the bottom right corner. We've been working more across, but I decided I need to see what that bottom corner looks like. So I have decided going all the way down and then over. So now I know.
You've done a lot because you've done all this in here, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
And that.
Those outlining of those octagons takes me a while.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time if I end a thread on a diagonal, the way I stitch the diagonals, the threads are kind of loose in the back. I have a hard time tucking them under in a secure way. Some of them have kind of loosened. So I also was trying to not end in the middle of a diagonal. That was kind of one of the things I was saying.
Anna, I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. You know how you're saying, like, when you can see a finish? I want to finish this year. I'm not like seeing a finish, but I have to admit, like, my heart has that little excited race when I'm like, I'm finishing it this year. I think I have found something that is working for me. It has enough flexibility, but it's scooting me closer each week or each month. And I'm really happy about it.
What a neat idea, Anna. And I'm just curious, is there something about sort of having that floss and you're seeing, instead of seeing progress on a big piece, you're seeing the progress of your floss disappearing?
That definitely has something to do with it. It's just some sort of visual way of saying, like, yes, I am making progress and adding to this.
So neat. Okay.
I feel
inspiring, Anna.
Because these kinds of things, like these kinds of goal setting things, don't always work well for me. I think I've just hit on something that's working well.
Inspiring. My next piece is a new start, and one of the women I met at the meetup, her name is Monica, and on Instagram she is Lazy Daisy Needlework, and she was so inspiring to me because she said she has a lot of 32 count fabric, but now she prefers stitching on 36 or 40, or I think she even stitches sometimes on 46. So she said, I didn't want my 32 count fabric to go to waste. So she says, I'm stitching over 1. And one of her daughter had recently got married, and she's making an ornament for them for their, I don't know if it was for this year or last year. It was spectacular. She's using Swassofine, stitching over 1 on 32. So beautiful. So of course I get home and I'm like, I want to try that. I'm curious. So I decided I was going to try just a 1 color piece over 1 on 28 count. And for that, it actually fit nicely with my January surprise. Again, this is kind of my whipco of doing a 1 colored piece. So I picked Quaker Christmas.
Beautiful. By
Primrose Cottage. And I just went into our stash. It's so fun, Anna, having a stash. And I picked, is that Platinum, 28 count linen by Zweigart. And I picked a red from my silk stash. And I picked a Goblin, what's my color? 2644. There's my red.
Similar to your sweater.
Here's my overall.
I think a photo, or even holding up in a video, you can't really truly see how tiny it is.
It's so tiny.
It looks fantastic.
So a couple of things.
Wow.
I love it. It's so fun and satisfying. I'm absolutely using a hoop because I'm doing the up and down, what do you say? Poke and stab. Over 1 on 28, it would be equivalent to over 2 on 56. So then I'm like, well, let me try that. So Anna had stitched my incredible Quaker reindeer ornament on 56 count. So she brought it over. I sat down to do it. I could not begin to see the threads. I just couldn't with my reader. I have like pretty strong magnifying readers. I'm going to try Anna's reading light, but I'm like, I think just my eyes and the way I like to stitch, I think 56 is just physically not possible, which was like, I'm okay with that. So the 28 is really fun. In my next experiment, I'm going to actually do the winter Quaker, also over 1 on 28. And for that, I'm going to try Swassofine. Because one thing I noticed, the Swa Goblins, you can see it is a little, the stitches are thick. You don't really see the individual crosses. That up again.
Is it hard to find the hole? Like
not at all. Oh my gosh, that's the thing, because stitching on 28 count, you see the linen threads so easily. And I think that's one thing that's super relaxing.
But I mean, like if one hole has all stitches coming in from all 4 directions.
Oh, it's a little tight.
That's what
yeah, thanks. It's a little tight. The one thing I can see though, I can definitely see advantages of stitching over 2 on 56 if it's physically available to you, to over 1 on 28. And that is, I feel like when you're going over 2 stitches, you have a much stabler ground that you're stitching on top of, where it's just 1 over 1.
Little wiggly squiggly.
It's a little more wiggly squiggly. So I'm actually trying to be, and I think that's why the poke and stab, I'm just trying to be really careful as I'm going.
Yeah, so things don't get skewed.
So things don't get skewed. But man, this is fun.
It's looking great.
I'm just going to show you one more time.
I like the color combo a lot too.
And that's one really fun thing about us having our stash. I know it's a little harder for Anna because most of our stash shared supplies live over at my house. It's like, sometimes I just get inspired and I just want to try it. I just want to go for it. And so it was that night when I got back from stitching, I'm like, I'm just going to try it and go for it. So it's just great to be able to go pull a few things and be on our way.
I know how to get into her house even if she's out of town to get to the stand.
That's true.
Supplies.
I know, but it is different than being like.
But it's working out great.
So that's one thing we should talk about too. If at any point you want to take a turn, like maybe every other year, we shift where the supplies are, whose household has the supplies.
I think I tend to sort of, like, I probably have a few pieces of fabric in my house that I haven't started. Like sometimes I sort of get some possibilities from your house.
Yeah.
And they sit at my house a little bit. So it works out great.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Christmas Quaker.
Great.
Oh, I'm going to work on this some more today.
All right, I told myself when I finished writing my progress reports, I could start my first basket. That was even better than like a piece of chocolate. And I have pulled the basket from the Modern Folk Embroidery sampler, Katrin and William.
Oh, that's right.
I'm realizing, like, I don't care if the flowers are in a vase. I'm calling them baskets, but.
So that's interesting, Anna. Do you want to rebrand your experimenting?
Before I really get into it, what could I call it?
Flower arrangements,
It might be hard to see, but this fella's arm is covering that flower, so I kind of charted that.
Sorry, arm.
That part of the flower, and here it is. It's on 40 count.
It's fantastic, Anna.
The colors.
It's fantastic.
So great. I'm loving it. 40 count vintage pecan butter by Lakeside Linens, and it's the called for DMCs 1/2, and the stitch count is just about 50 wide, 74 high.
Yeah, nice, Anna.
It's just coming along, and I think I would like to back these little baskets. Yeah, we gotta rethink. With maybe some William Morris fabrics. Or maybe some ginghams. I think I want to have a variety, but also a theme for the back.
So almost like your backs coordinate with each other.
So I've been drawn to the William Morris fabric, so that's probably what I'll try. Probably get a few pieces of that.
So pretty.
And
look at that.
Socks for Mom was kind of highlighting her William Morris thread. What do you call these?
Thread keeps?
Thread keeps. So I got one for each of us.
Thank you so much. I'm totally going owl.
Owl? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll go bear.
Thank you, Anna.
And
let me say something about a bear once you're done.
okay, I think I'm done. I'm just really, really happy with this. And already thinking about what's my next basket gonna be.
Yeah. I guess you still call them a basket. So
what are you gonna say about a bear?
Okay, I have three things I want to say.
It's like the 6th graders. Anna, I have 2 things I want to say. Okay.
First, I was watching the most recent Ever Tote where Caroline and Carrie are together. They're so fun. They have a great dynamic. But they are going to participate in Carmen. It has a stitch along that's going to start March 1st, which is kind of going in the depths of Jacob, the Modern Folk Embroidery's catalog.
Are we going to do that?
Oh, 100%. And find like something down there that maybe people have they've been overlooked, because there's like so much. Like sometimes I just go in there and like scroll and look. So what made me think about this is this a newer piece for him, or is this one from?
I think it is a newer one, actually.
So I can't wait. So Caroline and Carrie showed the ones they've picked. I think Carmen's already picked hers. So I'm going to totally participate in that. It starts March 1st. I don't know the details. I don't know if I'm not up to date on Carmen's video. She's cardamom and pins. But I thought it'd be so fun to see what everybody picks from Jacob.
And I cannot tell you the hours of fun I have had looking at samplers where I would not stitch the whole sampler, but I'm zeroing in on the baskets and the vases and thinking like, I kind of want, like you said, like maybe some different scales, some rectangles this way, some rectangles this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be fun.
So I thought that I believe March 1st, we have lots of time. So okay. That was thing number 1 I wanted to say.
Oh yes.
Thing number 2 about the bear. Have you all seen the Artsy Housewives sneak peek for Nashville? It's like,
that thing is awesome.
It's this incredibly realistic looking bear with then this graphic design around him.
It really caught my eye when it popped up on our feed. It's like, whoa.
I know, so unusual and striking. Which then leads me to actually thing number 2.B, whatever. Evertote does these boxes that they're starting to do these. They had their Advent box, they had a Valentine box. Their next box is a collaboration with Gigi of the Artsy Housewife. Like, here's my money. Yes, please. So I'll
be late to homeroom for that, like I am with Katie's tracking kids.
I will be late to school. The kids can wait for that one. So that's super exciting. And I think they'll give us more details. They just gave us a little.
So let me know when you hear more.
Whew. Okay, what was the other thing I wanted to say?
I'm just going to back up to the bear and the artsy housewife.
Yeah.
When I see a design like this happens with me, for me with Kathy Barrick sometimes. I'm like, it is so clear to me that that person's like soul and aesthetic and all of the wonderful things about that person, that designer. There's something like authentic when I see a pattern like that. I'm like, I feel like I know Gigi better, kind of.
Yeah. And you see it, and like to me, what I saw was I'm like, this is totally the artsy housewife. You saw all the elements, but it's like next level. You know what I mean? Like she's taken an idea, and it's like this idea of this realistic, like full coverage with the graphic. So, okay, go check out our feed if you haven't seen that already.
It's beautiful.
And thing number 3 with the owl that reminds me, the I think it's Lindy Stitches and Heart and Hand. They're doing sort of like a mini jingle ball. It's on Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm not going to participate, but the theme was owls, and they each have like a little owl chart, and it's just going to be like a 5-hour. You can go on, and they have a few different things you can do. It sounded really, really fun. I'm just too much of a football lover, and I'm hoping my 49ers are in, so I did not want to participate, but the owl made me think because their theme is owl. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. All right, my next whip.
Oh yeah, that has changed.
Yes. This is Reindeer Games by Brenda Gervais. I'm working on number 2, even though it's the first one I'm working on. It's them eating this bowl of sweets right here. And I'm using everything called for. I got this as a kit, including all the finishing supplies. So it's 40 count vintage country mocha, called for DMC and over-dyed cottons. This was also a weekly focus for me. It was the week of the 15th. And I'm almost done with this one, and they're finished again as rounds. So I have everything done except for the antlers and a few more little snowflakes here and there. You can kind of see that.
Colors are great.
This is a joy to stitch. I'm a little intimidated, it's not quite the right word. The antlers are all done with some kind of straight stitch or back stitch. So
I have heard,
yeah,
and I've started doing myself. Are you going to use like interfacing on these?
I don't think it's called for, but I know use the interfacing if you're doing a lot of the little.
Put it on first,
yes,
and then do it.
Yeah, I feel there was someone too also at the meetup that had done that. She had done a Christmas stocking and another piece that had a lot of like little confetti, so she put the interfacing on and had done that on the back. So definitely. I think this does not have interfacing, and I don't think you can see through it. I of course just carried it all over the place on the back. So these have been really fun, and again, it was great having 3 days to focus on it.
What does the color of the reindeer look like on the skein? It's really kind of like maybe a new jacket.
It's
like almost. Is there like a little purple in the brown?
I don't see the purple in the brown. It is this DMC. To me, it looks more like sort of like a mocha.
Yeah.
A little taupe. Oh, I should have showed all the colors. So I love all these colors. You know, of course, you just use a little bit and it'll be on all 3 of them. So that's been really fun. Yeah. Next time I stitch, I'm going to just be like, Carolyn, just do those antlers right now and get that done.
Okay.
Okay. So check in with me later. I haven't stitched yet. I'll stitch tonight for sure. Okay. That was Reindeer Games. Are you?
I'm done.
Okay.
For whips.
I have 2 more. The next one was my weekly focus for just this week. I finished my 3, and this is Quaker Housewife by Chessie and Me. And this pattern was passed on to me from CBC Stitches on Instagram, and when I finish it, I will pass it on, and we'll kind of have a history of itself. And for this, I'm using the called for overdyed cottons. And I picked my own linen. I picked 37 count Cloudburst, and I'm telling you, I picked it. Put in my water. First, let me show. Here's where I was last time I worked on it.
Did your overdyes get wet?
No.
No.
No, just the bling. And here's where I am now.
Because I didn't see I can't see the picture right now. What have you added?
I was probably about here on the alphabet, so all this.
Wow. Isn't that something? That red is so needed right in there.
I know. Okay, I have a real problem. Well, not really a problem. I have a design dilemma. Part of this design, can you see how striking that white swan is? So the called for linen must have been more of a silver gray because there's also a white bird, and you probably maybe didn't even notice it when I showed this to you. I've left it stitched in there. Can you see it right there?
It's funny, you can't see it on the cover either.
Okay, so my linen's too light. And I've done a couple of things. The call for was eggshell, which is actually a bit of a creamy white. So then I first did that, picked it out, did not look good. So then I'm like, well, let me try snowball, which is such a vibrant, bright white. And that's what it's stitched in right now. And that's not enough. So that just tells me these two birds can't be white on my linen choice. So here's the dilemma. What should they be? And some ideas, and I'd love any opinions. I'm not going to be stitching. I'm going to pull that out and consider it. So I'd love to hear your comments. I've been thinking a little bit like, what about a really pale pink? How would that be? Or a sort of a paler gray that read a little silver.
That's the first thing that popped in my head. But
So
I like.
And if you have suggestions, I'd love to hear it. Or even like if you have a particular floss that you think would be good, that would be great too.
What about something with some variegation?
Maybe because you know what, Anna, these flosses, it wasn't until I started stitching them, they have so much variation. Can you see, like, I don't know if it's hard to see in this light, but if you look at the Quaker motifs, like there's like a little bit of green and blues and grays. So the other flosses do have quite a bit of variation.
Let me think. Actually,
See if I can show.
my white from Scarlet Berries.
Yeah, which white are you using for that? So
It has like a little yellow in it sometimes.
Yeah, so it might also, if you have a suggestion, maybe a different type of white. But I realized this, I loved the other flosses on this linen, and I didn't think carefully enough about how the white was not going to read and how important. That's the thing, it's such an important design element when you get down there to the swan. See, I think that might look like Anna's showing a cream right now.
Light khaki. It actually has like some yellowy brown. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would look a little dirty because it looks, the other colors, even though they're a little muddier, they still look crisp. So.
I think you're right.
So village takes a village sometimes. Let's hear your feedback on this.
And this is such a common problem of lighter colors ghosting. Which sometimes is not a big deal, but when they're the birds are like some of your favorite part.
Or I feel like particularly that swan and the bigger sort of very open motif, I feel like you need that focal point is going to be really necessary.
Like what things kind of look like white that aren't white that will show up on a lighter fabric.
So this is another case where this weekly focus whip, I don't know why I haven't been stitching this. And so just sort of being like, I'm going to focus that on 3 days. It was so fun to get back to it and just, you remember how much I love the design and love stitching Quakers. I love that geometric aspect. And this one's going to end up being a flower basket down there. So
did you say basket?
I did. I just said flower basket. Okay. So that is my stitching whips, and I just have one knitting whip to end with.
Do you have a light pink in there? No, nothing light enough.
Yeah.
My brain's going to be on that.
I know. I'm working on Kachamak by Caitlin Hunter. We've seen this multiple times. And I've made some really good progress. I have a bit of a pipe dream. I'm going to New York toward the end of February. I'm just like, this would be a perfect New York sweater. So I've split for the arms, and I've done the next color work rotation of the body.
It looks so good.
And
I think it's one of my favorite things you've ever made.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm super, I haven't tried it on yet. Usually I would have tried it on by now, but I'm just going by faith. And I'm about to stitch like 30 rounds of just the brown, which is going to be perfect for watching football tomorrow. And here's my main color and my 2 accent colors on that. Again, this is a slightly thicker wool than I tend to knit sweaters with. We're just our climate, we doesn't get too cold, so we knit with something called fingering, which is a very thin yarn, so your sweaters are not heavy. This is the next kind of size down
From a pillow.
called DK. So it's a little bit heavier, not as heavy as many sweaters are.
Great for upstate New York.
But it will be great for New York. It'll be good for like when it's colder here where we are.
Maybe it's not upstate.
So I might not finish it. I would love to. The sweater I finished last year, which is the gray sweater with the color work up here, it was right before we went to visit them too, and I like finished it right under the wire. But for this, I might even, if I haven't finished it, I'll take it and knit it
I was going to say,
while I'm there. Who knows? I might finish it while I'm there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been doing a lot of play and pretend, so there might not be that much time for knitting.
I know. But knitting, it's easier to knit on the move with the little kids than cross stitch, actually. So that's good. How do we scroll?
Shared supplies.
Let's see. We're going through our show notes. I think that's it for our whips.
Plans.
We have plans. Yeah. What are your plans, Anna?
Really nothing too exciting. Just I want to keep working on the 3 things I showed: the Scarlet berries, the fruits of plenty, and finish up that basket. And the next whip that's sort of in the drawer that's calling to me is the Bell. That's the one from Modern Folk Embroidery.
1841.
Half alphabet, half Quaker motifs, and I'm only doing the Quaker part. And it just keeps reminding me of my daughter, and I'm going to go visit her. Carolyn and I both have some time off in February from school. And I thought, could I finish it before that visit? So I thought I'll stitch on it for a few days to see if that's a doable thing.
Nice.
What about you? Your plans, Carolyn?
Okay. Plans. So I've been using the Book of Days. And first I got to tell you, I'm just a mechanical pencil person. I have no stickers. So don't get too excited. But I've been keeping track of everything I've been stitching. And in the back, I have my lists. These are sort of my Whip Go alternative this year. I have my starts, my whips, everything in here. I'm really enjoying this. And just talk a little bit more about what I'm doing for my personal Whip Go alternative is for January. Every month I've been picking something I'm going to fully finish. And so January, it's fully finishing Pretty Bird. It won't be fully finished, but I got over a big hurdle. I actually ordered a frame. I picked and ordered a frame from Signed and Numbered, and they're fantastic. For my piece, I first actually stitched around what I wanted my visible margin to be, and so I had a really good measurement of that. And they'll make custom frames for you. And they reply within 24 hours. It was super, super easy to do because I ordered 2 custom frames at the same time. So as soon as that gets in, I'll finish that. So that was my goal. And then I pick a monthly surprise, and that's random. I have 12 different surprises, and I do, hey Siri, pick a random number between 1 and 12, and I get my random number. And so it was a single color piece, and it was my Christmas Quaker. That was fun. And then I'm doing my weekly focus, which has been really fun. Every Sunday, I do a random number to pick my weekly focus for the week coming up, and I stitch on that 3 times. So that's been great. January's been great. February, my monthly fully finish is going to be the Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom.
Oh, good.
He was the other one. I ordered a frame for him at the same time. So I'll finish both those frames.
So will you have to lace them to prep them for the...
Yeah, and the frame comes with either, I think, foam core or mat board, I think probably depending on the thickness of the frame. So they cut that to the size of the frame. So I'll wait to lace until I get the frame in that.
Okay.
But I did stitch the visible margin because I just wanted to make sure I really knew what I wanted to be my visible space. Yeah. So it will require
visible margin is how much on the side you can see from the edge of the frame to the edge of the stitching?
Because all frames, the frame size you order is a little bit bigger because there's the lip.
The inset kind of part.
But they're great when you order from Signed and Number, you tell them the visible size. And then they will put on, I think it's like a quarter inch all the way around.
Yeah.
And they were fantastic. Like I sent them just a DM on Etsy, and I said, and then they reply back and they're like, okay, just to guarantee this is what you said. And they reiterate that. And I'm like, yep, that's it. And then they put on Etsy a special link for you to follow, and you pay there, and it was really reasonable. So I'm very, very excited about that. Okay, February, and I did my monthly surprise, and what I have in my book of days, kind of like Whipco, I listed out 12 monthly surprises, and I'm just doing those random numbers. And the one that got called, Anna, was treat. Treat, take Anna out for a treat. So that's February. So we can decide if we want to go for like ice cream or go for a drink or something someplace. So I'm going to take you out for a treat.
Okay, I'm there.
All right. So that's that. So this has been really fun. I feel like I'm going to see my whips, but I love that little bit of a monthly surprise of doing some fun things. And I really want to focus on finishing. So that's my plan.
Seems like our Whipco-like variations that we've chosen for ourselves are working so far.
It is January. Oh, it's just part of the fun.
Oh,
Come on.
gosh.
Yeah. Okay. Shared supplies. What you got?
Wait, did you see that Modern Folk Embroidery, Jacob generously put out a new free chart?
I did.
Birds in Winter. Do you think you're going to stitch it?
I might.
So now we have it. I'll pop it in our monochromatic box. And then, as I mentioned before, I'm looking at baskets. So actually, a commenter recommended, I can't remember the name. This basket by Jessie and me is actually part of a sampler. This is called Sarah's Basket, and I can't remember what the sampler's name is.
Did you just get that?
Yeah, what did you get?
No, it's we have it.
How do we have it?
I love it. That's a pattern I got pretty early on in cross stitch. So
You know what? We're reaching that point.
we need to go through.
In fact, I want to do that before I leave today, if you have time.
Yeah. You should look through our flora and fauna. You know what, you all, that might be a fun thing to do one episode is pull one of, like we have our boxes of patterns themed and pull it and just go through some of them.
So do you have this or do you have the whole sampler?
I'll have that exact.
Okay, so if I do this one, which I think I'm going to, should I just do the basket or do you think I should do this whole small with the little doodads around the basket?
I think you should do the basket, but with, I think you should cut off these on the side, do the basket, but do the little fill-in motifs that are right below it. It's like they're little mini baskets.
And while
I might stitch at the same time you do. I've always liked that one.
I might do it next, although it looks sort of springy. While I was looking at Jessie and me, the Not Forgotten sampler, and there are 3 really cool baskets and some birds. I think I would like to do that whole sampler.
Yes, Anna.
Yeah, honey.
Would that go with mine?
Yeah, it might be good.
This basket feels like the one you're doing now, just a little bit. I don't know why. Maybe just with the 3 flowers.
Look at that one, though. Well, look at that one. I like. There's so many. We'll see. Who knows? This idea could sort of peter out a little bit.
Or it could spiral out of control.
I might do more than 6.
Yeah.
One every 2 months was my original goal.
I like the sampler a lot.
Yeah, I haven't really noticed it. What's the copyright?
You can see too up here in the alphabet, there's also several, might not be able to see it, but several bands going across it.
This is actually stitched in wool.
Oh. On what count?
32. So I might try that.
Interesting. What wool do they use?
It is called Simply Wool, and I think it's from Gentle Arts. I found it, I think it was on 123 Stitch. So I'd never heard of it before. Oh yeah, because she has a note in here. If desired, the sampler may be stitched using sampler threads by the Gentle Art. The color names are the same.
Oh, that's neat.
Because there is some over 1, and I thought, what if you did the over 1 in cotton? We'll have to see how thick the wool is. I'm gonna get at least a little bit of the wool to see what it's like. Because I enjoyed stitching with the wool.
So interesting. This is an original design, even though it looks like a reproduction sampler. Cool. Yeah, nice. It is funny. There are a few times where we have duplicated charts. We've bought the chart and we're like, oh, we already have that. Which is good. That just means you like it. And I don't mind supporting designers. And then too, if we end up stitching that at the same time, we have 2 copies. Because we will always do that. If we're stitching at the same time, we'll always buy 2 charts.
Yes. Yeah. That's gonna say something I forgot. All right, what did you get?
Okay. One of the first things is
I have the same thing at home.
Anna, we're in the same wavelength.
Or we get serve the same thing on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know where I saw this, but it's the magazine Quilt Folk. And somebody was just talking about it, might have been on a FlossTube. And I used to quilt a lot. And I'm just like, it's such a great, I miss having a good magazine. And they interview, I think often the episode, the issue will focus on a particular area and then interview quilt artists in the area. And when I got my subscription, I could pick one back order as a thank you gift. And I picked Northern California, which has been so fun because some of the women focused here when I was really, really into quilting and like the whole modern quilt scene. Like, I know who these people are.
And I took a class from Tara Vaughn.
Yep, that's right. And like Judith Content, we've been to her studio before, and like Teresa May. So it was also, this was a really fun because it had some personal connections to it. But it's just a beautiful magazine, and just it smells really good, and just the inspiration. So I feel like I'm gonna quilt again. I've been feeling that. I've been feeling that draw a little bit.
I'm excited to hear that because another idea we have for FlossTube at some point is to show some of Carolyn's. I mean, I have to call them art quilts.
Yeah,
you got to a really sophisticated level in your thinking in terms of color and design.
And I think that's why I stopped also too, because it just became like almost like too much pressure, like thinking like it was not a relax. That's when I started knitting actually. And the knitting was more like to relax because the quilts became like, oh, everyone's got to be really good. I don't know. It was still super fun, but I did maybe burned out a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm sort of getting the draw again. So that was fun. And then I'm going to be starting the Houses of Hawk Run Hollow. And I'm starting with this house. And I have all the MPIs for that. And I saw Olivia B's version of it. I'm like, oh, what linen are you on? And it was on Cedar River Overcast. I'm like, that's it. I'm stitching on that one.
Don't think another thought about it.
So I ordered that and I needed a stitcher's half. So it just needed, I love this linen so much. And all of her tissue paper is archival. Like she really thinks about her process. And so here is my Overcast stitchers.
Let's see how big a stitcher's half is.
Okay.
Let's just enjoy the, oh yeah. Oh, beautiful,
So,
Carolyn.
I know.
Wow.
I just didn't have enough space for a stitcher's quarter to stitch stitches. Olivia's stitching it on 40 count and she could fit 40 count on a stitcher's quarter, but I had to go stitcher's half. But do I mind? Absolutely not. Look at that piece.
It's really, really pretty. I like a little modeling, and not a lot, at least at this point in my preferences for linen. And this is one of the things I like about her linen.
Let me see if I can. Oh, we'll see the colors. So I'm not quite sure when I'm going to start this, but I have now everything ready to go. I've been toying with
Tonight.
No, it will be a little bit later because I'm also wondering for my bigger pieces, do I want to stitch it in a frame? I don't know. And a couple of the women at the meetup had floor frames that they are thinking they're not going to have and might sell, and are thinking, well, maybe I could try one, So I don't know. I'm trying to debate if that's my thing with Fruits of Plenty, if it's too much fabric, and how would I feel differently if it was in a frame. So kind of curious about that, but we'll see.
I'm curious to watch you.
Those were my purchases. When you order her linen, they says takes like 3 weeks or something, and then it disappears, and you're like, my linen's here.
It's great.
I think it's gonna be kind of a long day.
Time for thumbs up.
Time for thumbs up. Anna,
Okay.
What are your thumbs up?
We have
girl?
a local bakery called The Midwife and the Baker, and I am so into this particular muffin of theirs that is incredibly moist. And then it has a little bit of a crunchy top.
Which one is it?
I don't even know what it's called.
Is it the one at Piazza's?
You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I'm really into their scone. That's my go-to.
Then, I don't know, this is going to happen a lot in my thumbs up because it was in my last thumbs up. Grandchildren skills. Our youngest granddaughter has just learned to clap. I mean, come on, you can yay! And then, she's put her little hands together. Wonderful. And then Our older granddaughter, who's 2.5, she has a pair of those child chopsticks that are connected at the top. And she's just like working really hard to pick up her food with her little chopsticks.
So cute.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh, Anna.
Yes. And then the last thing, as I was sewing these project bags over the holiday break, my sewing machine I've had since I was 17. It's a Bernina 910. It's as heavy as can be, metal parts, nothing, no electronic anything. It has something like 6-8 stitches on it. It is...
It's a workhorse.
I'm so attached to it, and it is just so consistent. I have a 1/4-inch foot, I have a regular foot, I have a zipper foot, I have an edge foot, and with those 4 feet, I can do
You can rule the world, Anna.
I can do anything. Anyway, like, I've had to take it in for service maybe twice since I've owned it, and it's always like a surprise, like, what? There can't be anything wrong. Remember our foot pedals broke?
Pedals broke.
Just they cracked from the old plastic. Anyway, I'm putting my Bernina 910 on the list.
Yeah.
She's a good one.
It was a year, I can't remember if it was for Anna, myself, and our older sister Joan have fall birthdays. I can't remember if it's birthdays or Christmas, but my mom gave us each one of those Bernina machines. I don't know if Joan still has hers. That's what I remember at the time, like I was not yet into crafting, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I'm like, I'm outside playing sports, running around. Oh my gosh. And my mom's just like, everybody needs a good sewing machine. And she was absolutely right. That thing has, we've had it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So 40 years.
I have zero desire for another machine.
Yeah. It's cool. Okay. My thumbs up. First, our sister Susan, for Christmas, I think you got something similar. She gave us a little basket and a little metal bird. And I am just like, to me, I'm like, I'm up for the challenge now. I've got to make the just right cross-stitch piece or pieces that fit in with this decorative montage. Mm-hmm. So I'm really, really excited. I don't know if that's why she gave it to us, but I'm just seeing that as a great challenge. My second thumbs up is I've been learning to play Mahjong with just some friends, and I have just enjoyed that game so much. We've learned it together. I've met some new people, and I realized I'm a person I really enjoy best when my friends we're doing things. I'm like definitely more of a doer friend than a sitting and chat. Not that I don't chat with my friends, but I mean, I've always liked playing sports with people or crafting with people or, book clubs or games. So this has been really fun. I've met some new women. It's been really, really fun. Okay, Mahjong. And then finally, thumbs up to our 49ers. Now, you won't see this video until next Thursday, and the 49ers play the Lions tomorrow. If they win, they go to the Super Bowl. So on Thursday, you'll know if Carolyn is happy or sad. The last game when we played against the Packers was so stressful. We were actually over at my son's house watching it, and we were all just like a little too stressed. So I think tomorrow's game.
Yeah, it's funny.
I know.
Might be stressful. I don't really connect with football, but I stitch while other people in the family are watching it. And last week's game I found like super exciting because I wasn't feeling the same level of stress. I just thought it was exciting.
Like if I watched a game like that with 2 other teams, it would be really fun and exciting. It was way too stressful. Mm-hmm. So that's why I have my knitting already. I'm like, I'm going to get my knitting to just solid color because I be like knitting. But I'm like, I think I'm just going to stay home and John and I can watch the game here because it's going to be really stressful. If Super Bowl, we'll go more for a party setting. So we'll see. And if the 49ers lose to the Lions, I'll be a little sad, but I'll be happy for the Lions too because they haven't. I don't know if they've ever been to the Super Bowl, and they've had many, many, many years of not winning. So how can you not like them too? Okay, thumbs up 49ers. You go Niners. We did it. That was it.
Yeah.
All right. So
good to have a regular old FlossTube.
It did. It would be fun in a future one though to pull out some patterns. We'll look at our boxes, see what we have in there.
We should write these ideas down at the top of our...
We all remind us that we're going to maybe do that. And I ended up, if you watched our last video, I did put our finishes from 2023 as a little montage at the end of that. And that was really fun to do. I told Anna, I'm like, how many photos do you think I put in at the end for finishes? And she goes, well, I don't know, 15. It's like 49.
Amazing.
Between the two of us. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Until next time.
At least 3/4 of them.
Oh, it's the hashtag sabbatical.
Yeah. Until next time, happy crafting.
And stay curious. Bye, everybody. All right, are we too low?
I mean, like, do we want to bring it down a little bit more? I think so.